This is Jolly Lee Jamil, and I've been thinking about something. I was watching this video on the Harlem Renaissance. One of the statements in it was it was just trying to establish why African artists in America should pick up on cues from Africa itself. Connect to your roots through your art. And one of the statements that really got me thinking was I forgot who said it, but he basically said, "Who has more right to the culture and the feelings of Africa other than the African Americans?" And that's a pretty deep thought when you think about it. Who? Why shouldn't we go back and connect to our roots and love who we are and where we came from? A lot of our people, as you see, running around trying to keep this European idea, whether it's the straightened hair, and a lot of women ready to fight you over that when you tell them, okay, that's not you, that's not real. But they've seen it so long and it's been dug into their brain that this is normal. To straighten your hair from its normal state, to straighten it to fit in with somebody else's idea of beauty. On top of that, you have brothers running around, of course, with white women and everything like that, not because they're attracted to them, but because they think maybe, and this is what I've been told in this city that I stay in. I stay in the southeast Georgia, so of course, you have a lot of slave mentality because this was a slave port where I live at right now, Savannah, Georgia. Very, they call it beautiful until you get here and you understand the racial atmosphere. You will see one side is over here. It's like DC. You go down one street, Ninth Street, and you right in the projects, crossing the street light or something. But these brothers would get with a white girl, so maybe their children could come out being a little bit lighter and get better jobs. That is what I've been told by some of these crazy guys, including some of my cousins. Said, "Oh, I date the white girl because, well, not because of so-called attitude ideas, but because it will give my child a better lifestyle." Why are we running away from our own culture by trying to add other things to us so our children's future can be better? That's not a way you want to invest in your future, in my opinion. And in all common sense, you don't see any other race of people doing the same thing. Now back to the statement: why that African Americans have more right to Africa than other people. The statement was made on the fact that Picasso and a few other white artists, they took some African forms, whether it was the mask or the tribal patterns, and implemented it in their artwork and got notoriety off it. And it's obvious when you look at some of the paintings, some of the weird line drawings where the structures look very funny. The noses are bigger and the eyes seem a little bit bigger. The guy was honestly copying African ideas in his artwork. Not a bad thing because he saw the beauty of our people before we even saw it. That should tell you something right there. Another thing, you see how everybody is picking up on hip hop and anything that we do, everybody jumps on the bandwagon and wants to be a part of it. Whether they dress like these fools running around with their pants hanging under their ass, or everybody doing the thing with the hat turned to the side. It's more of a habit to me, but you see a lot of white, Hispanic, and everybody else doing the same thing, copying our culture and ideas. We, in essence, are trendsetters, and Paul Mooney said it the best. One of the funniest yet most poignant statements that I have really ever heard. Everybody wants to be a nigga, but nobody wants to be a nigga. I'm not saying that I agree with the word and everything like that. It's another thing, another topic, another everything. But getting back to the point at hand, why shouldn't we be very forthcoming about the decisions to grab our culture by the hand, just snatch back who we are, go for what we know, and if we don't know, do some extra study. Why should we feel ashamed for wearing a red, black, and green armband, but at the same time, knowing damn well you don't feel right about it, feel justified in wearing an American flag? Basically, I'm gonna leave it up to everybody else to decide, everybody else to think about this. A lot of people don't want to accept their culture. I don't know why. It doesn't make sense to me. If you ask me, I'm not even African American. I don't consider myself an American. I've never been considered American by a lot of people. You look at me, and the first thing they say is, okay, you black and you're an American. I am more African than I am American, even though I've been born and raised here and never been to Africa. My culture, my face, everything about me screams Africa. And my recent ancestry, I'll say recent ancestry, meaning my grandmother and my great grandmother in the South Carolina, Southeast Georgia, lowline areas, we're Gullah people, Gullah and Geechee. That is the culture in America that that has the closest ties to Africa, whether it's the dialect and the food and wicker baskets, the weaving and all that. We have the closest ties to who we are. In fact, there's a video I think you should watch called "The Language You Cry In." It shows how a group of stolen people kept their ties to their family by one song in a native tongue, in the Mende language. It was a funeral song. Watch it. It's a very good film. Some of my distant relatives are in there as well, on both sides of the Atlantic. Anyway, tell me why you don't feel that you should accept your culture, and to the people who feel, explain to them or tell me why you feel that we should accept our culture. This is Jolly Jamiu posing another question, and keep it strong.